Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler of The Enthusiasts, and welcome to Under Review, the place where we put the stuff we're enthusiastic about under scrutiny. Today, I'll be putting under review one of my favorite anime series, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni. As a disclaimer for anyone who hasn't seen this series, or if you're a parent doing a checkup on what your kids are watching, for the sheer bloodshed, violence, and gore that is in this show, I would have to give it a R rating. You have been warned. Higurashi follows Mayabara Keiichi and his classmates since he moved to rural Hinamizawa from Tokyo. These days range from cute and adorable, to playing card games and digging through trash heaps, to terrifyingly horrific with brutal murder and psychological and physical torture. Higurashi spans 8 total arcs across 2 main series and 50 episodes, with each arc containing its own story and character progression that eventually connects to every other arc. This is where the series shines. Small details you may overlook in one arc can reappear in another with more context, thus adding to the complexity of the story's mystery. Now, as much as I love the storytelling style of Higurashi, it isn't without its downfalls. There are 8 arcs over 2 seasons, and with each one telling a new story, there tends to be at least one episode per arc that is dedicated to rehashing something that a previous arc has already told you, just in a slightly different way. Now, for some people, this will be extremely tedious and boring. The series almost begs for a second viewing once you have all the answers, just to be able to see some of the minute details that each arc tried to show you and may have missed. Now, this may enhance the show for some, or for others, it would be extremely boring and not worth doing again. It all depends on how you feel about rewatching shows. Music is key to Higurashi. Renowned composer Kawai Kenji does an amazing job combining beautiful vocals with haunting melodies that enhance every scene they're in. The dramatic scores work so well to emphasize the spine-tingling tension and memorable revelations, blending in with the story instead of being overshadowing or jarring. Even where there is no music, the cacophony of cicada chirps set the mood perfectly. If you aren't forced to take notice of the music, that to me is perfection. The only points where the music doesn't fit are in the more lighthearted moments, but that can also be chalked up to the overall feel of the show itself. The opening and closing themes capture the weight of Higurashi's atmosphere perfectly. While the English of Katakiri Reika's ending for the first season may be hard to listen to, the opening themes for both the first and second season are absolute gold and are some of my favorite themes to listen to. Shimamiya Eiko's voice perfectly captures the feeling of uncertainty, desperation, and the eerie unknown. Even when marathoning both seasons, I find it hard to skip these openings. With that being said, let's discuss Higurashi's most unfortunate aspect, its art. Sometimes one can argue that if you compare several shows that came out around the same time, you can see which shows have higher budgets. That isn't this show. Everything about it is very plain and nothing special. Background art and characters are all very plain. Town areas are low detail. Buildings, both inside and out, tend to not have much to them either. The panoramic shots of the village itself look nice, though, and expand on the feeling of isolation that the series can create. But even the aforementioned blood and gore, while explicitly depicted, is very muted. Most of the show's main developments take place at night, and that is where the plain art is at its best. At night, you don't need to see a lot of background details to set up atmosphere. Standard buildings and scenery can be very spooky and dramatic with the right lighting and music. The series' bread and butter, its characters, are also victims of this poor art design. Most of them are very plain, but easy to differentiate from background characters. That is the sad high point of it, though. During many dramatic and high-tension scenes, several character designs make such drastic shifts that I understand were meant to be scary, but when combined with some mismatched and underwhelming line reading by voice actresses, are downright ugly and will ruin all immersion the scene may have built. I'm sorry! This is one of the better ones, I promise! I mean, seriously, what is that? Combined with the deadpan delivery, I struggle not to laugh. And that? I mean, that's just hideous character design. Fortunately, these types of egregious monstrosities are not common, but they appear far more than they should, and sadly, really only on one character.
とはいえ、今のあんたが凄んでも滑稽なだけなんだけどね。怪しい薬でも注射したの？それともそういう死に方に見せる拷問道具でもあるわけ？ここまでやっちゃった以上、私も引っ込みがつかないんだから。じゃあ、お社様の。
Fortunately for the series, the second season looks so much better and has a lot less facial distortions. Voice work is overall pretty good. Casual scenes feel natural and fun, just like if you were hanging out with your friends. Dramatic scenes are nailed perfectly with all of the characters' interactions filled with tangible tension and fear. Then there are moments where it is overly dramatic and a little out of place, usually during transitional or informative scenes, or for Shion and Mion's actress, some deadpan and uninspired deliveries during what should be very intense parts of the shows.
できた！全部できた！私が殺したやつはこれだぜ！
Rika's voice actress offers several different styles of voice depending on the situations, and is easily the vocal star of the series for me.
リカちゃんは殺されちゃうよ。怒ったレナにきっと殺されちゃうよ。遊んであげるわ。おいで、ナタ女。みーちゃん、もう行こう。あんまり騒いじゃ悪いよ。そうだね。あ、そうそう、ケイちゃん。
なんだよ。
お昼何食べた？
表で食べたよ。
お昼は外食だったんだ。
There are highs and lows, but overall the voice work balances itself fairly well and proves itself as a staple for continuing the atmosphere created by the music. Higurashi no Naku Koro ni is one of my favorite series that I've ever seen, and it all comes down to, 1, a deep story that isn't handed to you early. Now, some won't want to invest the time into a story that takes as much time as Higurashi's does to get rolling, but if you have just a little patience with each 4 to 5 episode arc, they each add on more and more reasons to keep watching. 2, an amazing soundtrack that sets up, enhances, and in some situations, makes every scene of the series. And 3, voice acting that matches every situation's requirement for building tension, confusion, and fear. This show is very good at what it does, and that is sending chills down your spine and making you cringe. It evokes visceral emotions like anger and fear beautifully, and might even make you relate to a character or two. This, however, doesn't mean it's perfect. There are a few moments of lost immersions because of a mismatch in the art, the voice acting, or a combination of both. And there are a few times where you'll be at a total loss as to how things ended up like they did. And those reasons lead me to give Higurashi no Naku Koro ni a rating of 8 out of 10. Highly, highly recommended, especially if you love psychological horror.
俺の名前は夏木すばる。無知猛邁にして天下不滅の無一文。よろしく。
Hey, if you have any suggestions for anime you would like me to review, please leave a comment below or leave a request on our Facebook page.